All right, let's get right into it. For the longest time, when you thought of doing business in the UAE, the big draw was, well, no taxes, right? But times have definitely changed. Now, for businesses on the ground, the landscape looks a lot less like a straight road and more like a complex maze. Today, we're going to grab a map and navigate that maze together. So, maybe you're running a business in the UAE, or hey, maybe you're just kicking the tires on the idea. You've probably got your strategy locked down, you know your product, you've got your team, but are you prepared for your newest and kind of mandatory business partner? Yep, you guessed it, the tax authorities. They're now a critical piece of the business puzzle in the UAE. And believe me, if you don't understand their rules, things can get complicated really, really fast. Okay, so let's start with the rules of the game. How did we even get here? And what exactly are businesses dealing with on a day-to-day basis? This all happened incredibly quickly. Back in 2017, the UAE introduced the value-added tax, or VAT. That was a huge shift. Then, bam, just 5 years later in 2022, corporate tax arrives. So now, businesses are suddenly juggling two completely separate tax systems, both managed by the Federal Tax Authority. It's a whole new world out there. And to understand VAT, you kind of have to learn a new language, and the language is super specific. For instance, a taxable supply isn't just selling something, it's a formal transaction for a consideration. A business isn't just your official company, it's any activity you do regularly on an ongoing basis. In this new system, these little details matter a lot. And this is the magic number at the heart of that: 5%. It's a simple number, but it gets applied to almost every single taxable supply or import of goods and services across the entire country. And then came corporate tax, which is a whole different animal. This isn't a sales tax. It's a direct tax on your profits. A couple of key things to know. The rules are different for mainland and free zone companies. You can form a tax group to file together, and the standard rate is 9%, but it only kicks in after your taxable income goes over 375,000 dirhams. So yeah, this is way more complicated. With all this new complexity, you'd be hoping for a simple solution, right? Like, there's got to be an app for that. Well, that's exactly what the world of software promised. I mean, just look at this language. This is directly from the VAT law. Without prejudice to the provisions of Title VI, it's just dense legalese. Imagine you're a small business owner trying to decipher this. It's a nightmare. It's exactly this kind of confusion that makes a simple, clean digital tool sound so amazing. And here's that promise in action. Setting up VAT in a tool like Zoho Books looks so simple. Step 1, choose your location. 2, pick your emirate. 3, type in your 15-digit tax number. 4, click Save. And you're done, supposedly. The contrast between this and that block of legal text is night and day. This is what tech offers: simplicity. And just remember who's setting all these rules. It all comes down from one place: the Federal Tax Authority. They're the ones who design the maze and enforce how you get through it. Software, then, is supposed to be your guide, your map to get through that maze. It's meant to be the bridge between your daily business and the government's strict rules. But the real question is that bridge actually safe to cross? Okay, so we've talked about the promise. Now it's time for a reality check because, as we're about to see, what a tool says on the box and how it actually performs can be two totally different stories. And here is that reality check. This is a direct quote from a business owner on a Dubai forum. They found that the very software that promised to make compliance easy was actually making it difficult. That's not just a minor bug. It hits at the entire reason the product exists. This really shows the gap between the promise and the reality. The software promised easy setup and full UAE compliance. What users said they actually got was missing features, tough customization, and, you guessed it, continuing compliance headaches. It just wasn't the magic wand they were hoping for. So what do you do when one tool doesn't work? You start looking for another one. And in those same forum discussions, frustrated business owners started sharing the other options they were looking into, names like QuickBooks, Sage, and Odoo, all in the hope of finally solving their compliance problems. So, we've seen the law, we've seen the promise of technology, and we've seen the user reality. What's the big takeaway for any business trying to make it in the UAE? This is the most important point. You can't just buy a piece of software and think your tax problems are magically solved. Compliance is an active strategy, not just a passive purchase. The winning formula really has 3 parts. First, you have to understand the law yourself. You don't need a law degree, but you have to know the basics. Second, vet your tools like crazy. Don't just trust the marketing. Make sure it can truly handle the specifics of UAE law. And finally, you have to combine your knowledge with the technology. A powerful tool is only powerful if you know how to use it right. And that leaves us with a big question for the future. The UAE's tax system is still new, and it's always evolving. So will the technology finally catch up to all this complexity? Or will businesses just have to become even more strategic to keep pace? For any company in the region, that's the real challenge ahead.